Hi, my name is Moiz Ahmed, and I have Fazal Abbas and Aisha Ajmal with me. The case study we have chosen for the project is social media and marketing, which is CS23. We are going to discuss all the ethical issues regarding social media in this presentation. We are discussing a major issue in marketing, that whether social media companies should be allowed to buy and sell the personal data or not. The problem isn't just about the consent, it's about how users often don't understand what they are agreeing to. Research shows that people's data is collected and sold without their clear permission. This goes against basic ethics, which say people shouldn't be used as a tool of profit. We will explore this issue using three main ethical lenses: deontology, utilitarian, and GDPR. The goal is to push for stronger ethical standards in digital marketing. The digital economy runs on data, but not always in a fair way. Many companies collect user data through methods such as cookies and application, other employing deceptive designs that conceal what's actually happening. This data is sold to different brokers who build detailed profiles, sometimes including health and financial information. Sometimes they also include secret informations of the people without users having knowledge about it. Many consent forms are also very confusing on, or yeah, already they're checked and marked as ticked and making it harder to understand for people. Cases like Cambridge Analytica and TikTok's child data breach highlight the severity of this issue. We believe there's an ethical gap that needs urgent attention. So there's a big question going on. Why does ethics matter for the marketers? Because trust, reputation, and survival are on the line. Companies that ignore ethics might benefit short term, but over time they face backlash and different heavy fines. Treating people as just data points damages brand trusts. A global survey shows 81% of people do care about trust before buying things. Before ethical, being ethical also means doing more than just following the law. It means being responsible, avoiding manipulation, and protecting the user's data. In short, ethical marketing builds long-term success and loyalty for the brands. To explore this issue, we are using three major frameworks: deontology, utilitarianism, GDPR. Deontology says it's wrong to use people just for the sake of profit, so collecting data without their consent is the major unethical thing. Utilitarian ethics says actions should benefit the people, but with data marketing, the harm to the users often outweighs the benefits to companies. GDPR, this law says that data use must be clear and fair, but many firms follow this rule on the paper while still acting on very unethically. These three views all show the same thing: current marketing practices around the personal data often fail legally, ethically, and socially. The global personal data market is massive, valued at over $200 billion, with more than 4,000 data brokers harvesting and selling consumer profile without their consent and without their knowledge. These brokers operate behind the scenes, aggregating location, devices, shopping, and behavioral data of the users. As equity 2015 demonstrated much of this data comes from everywhere, yet poorly understood sources. For example, mobile application, loyalty cards, browser trackers, and even fitness wearables. Users are often unaware that their data has a commercial value, which let alone that it's being sold over the world. The core issue is opacity. A 2023 study by BT found that 9 out of 10 major firms fail to fully disclose how data is used or shared. A serious breach of ethical transparency, worse, dark patterns, user interface tricks are deployed to nudge consent without comprehension. Thus, the mechanics of the data collection are fundamentally manipulative, non-consensual. This sets up a structural imbalance in power between users and marketers. Now, I would like to call Fazil Abbas to continue the presentation.
Hi, myself Adalba. So now I'm going to explain the real world cases, ethical and legal breaches. So this slide presents real world cases that demonstrate the ethical and legal failures surrounding data practices in digital marketing. We begin with the Cambridge Analytica Facebook scandal in 2018, what 7 million profile were harvested using a Facebook quiz app, while only about approximately 3.5 half million users consented. The app exploited friend network permission to access millions more. So this data was used for political micro-targeting in the US election, as shown in the BBC News 2018 infographic on the right. This case underscores the failure of informed consent and illustrate how much minor user action can lead to large-scale data exploitation. So next we see TikTok fined 12.7 million by the UK ISO 2023 for illegally processing data from 1.4 million UK children. This shows a disregard for age-appropriate consent protocols. Meta, the parent company of Facebook, was fined 1.2 billion in 2023 for violating GDPR rules on cross-border data transfer, especially to the US. This which highlights the tension between US data monetization model and EU regulatory standards. So finally, we touch on consumer backlash, a key market consequences. A study by Sonker found that 61% of users feels powerless over their data, while 45% have stopped using digital services over privacy concerns. Together, these cases demonstrate that the absence of ethical safeguards in digital marketing has both legal and reputational consequences and undermines public trust. So, yeah, next one is implication and ethical consequences. So, in these slides, consider the deeper ethical consequences. First, the idea that users' consent to data collection is largely a myth. Ober and Waldorf Hodge so found that even tech-savvy users scheme or ignore privacy policies, many of which would take 30 to 45 minutes to read in full second. Algorithmic targeting enables discrimination at scale. Facebook at algorithmic restricted job listing from older users, female or minority groups, even when legally neutral criteria were applied. So the data recycling problem is another concern. Once harvested, the same data set can be sold, merged, and reused across companies and platforms without users. Knowledge vaulting, the principle of purpose limitation under GDPR, nearly 2019 finally, the integration of all into marketing compounds. These risk Chobin et al. 2019 argued that current all model lack ethical design standards allowing for automated bias amplification in advertising and messaging. So this shows the urgent need for industry-wide ethical governance beyond basic compliance. And the next one is current industry gaps in ethics. So even the growing awareness, many ethical problems still exist in marketing. So first, there is no global rule book law like GDPR help, but many companies work around them. Some treat rules as a checklist, not real ethics. And the second dark pattern, misleading design tricks are everywhere. They trick people into sharing data without real consent. And the third, all driven marketing at more risk, algorithmic chase clicks, even if it's me showing biased or harmful content. And the last is data broker make money off your personal data and users can't control it. These issues show why legal compliance isn't enough. We need strong ethical rules. Uh, the next one is, yeah, the ethical guidelines for responsible data use. So to restore trust and embed fairness into marketing, so we propose four non-negotiable ethical principles, each grounded in research and legal precedent. So first, marketing systems must ensure informed granular consent. Slower 2021 argues that default ops, vague privacy policies, and interface manipulation. So, while autonomy, ethical design demands active consent for each data type and use case, clearly separated from term of services. And the second transfer must become a core interface principle. Corrado et al. 2022 recommended consumer-facing data summaries answering what is collected, why it is needed, and with whom it is shared. So this transparency should be proactive, not buried in 40-page legal as third firms must adopt data minimization. GDPR Article 51C requires that only necessary data be processed. And yet most apps over collect by default. Limiting collection not only improves ethics but also reduce risk exposure during data breaches. So the fourth data control must shift to the user. Martin and Chilton 2020 advocate for real-time dashboards where users can access, delete, or transfer their data, returning agency to the individual. Together, these actions move the industry from passive compliance to ethical innovation. Uh, the the next member, please.
Hi, my name is Aisha, and I'm going to describe about the ethical guidelines for responsible data use. Now that we have covered user consent and control, we need to look at bigger structure changes. These next four steps help fix deeper problems like bias, lack of accountability, and unethical design in AI marketing. First, companies must run fairness audits on their targeting systems. Means 2020 found that algorithms can reflect bias like race or gender. These audits should be required and shared with the public. Second, we need an industry wide code of conduct. Murphy et al. 2016 argued that voluntary ethics don't work without structure. This code should be created with input from tech leaders and ethics and the public, and it must be enforceable. Third, dark patterns, those tricky designs that confuse or mislead users, should be banned. As Gary et al. 2021 point out, design should make consent clear and easy to withdraw, not hide it. Finally, we need independent ethics boards, not just internal teams to oversee AI use. Raw 2016 says that ethical governance needs transparency and public accountability. Together, these eight steps can guide us toward more ethical and trustworthy AI marketing. And now we will describe about short-term versus long-term ethical actions in digital marketing. To fix these problems, companies should take both quick actions and long term steps. Short term, give users control with clear dashboards, ban tricky designs that force consent, run fairness checks on algorithms to prevent bias, share simple visual explanations of how data is used. And now, the long term, create ethics boards to review and monitor company practices, build a global code of marketing ethics, design AI tools with fairness built in, push for a worldwide law on ethical digital marketing, not just EU based. Together, these steps can make digital marketing fairer and trustworthy. And this slide shows six possible futures for data ethics in marketing, some hopeful, others more challenging. First, AI is advancing faster than ethical oversight. Jobin et al. 2019 point out that most companies are not ready to manage the risk, creating a growing gap between between tech power and accountability. Secondly, there is a regulatory fragmentation. Big companies often take advantage of weaker laws in some countries, what Turkey calls ethical arbitrage. Third, consumers are pushing back. More people are in using tools like blockers and VPNs, showing a real loss of trust. On the brighter side, some companies are building ethical AI into the systems from the start, thanks to the public pressure and legal risk. But we also see ethics washing where companies talk about ethics in public but don't change their behavior inside. Martin 2018. Finally, more countries are creating strict data localization laws like parts of GDPR. This can raise costs, but it also improves data protection and national control. In short, the future of ethical marketing is still unfolding. We need to stay flexible, honest, and ready for real reform. And to close, we reaffirm that the marketing industry's current approach to personal data is ethically insufficient and strategically short sighted. Martin 2018 warns that legal companies without ethical commitment invites long-term reputational and financial risk. Consent is not meaningful when driven by dark patterns and unreadable policies, as shown by Slovo 2021 and Gary et al. 2018. Consumers are designing, and regulators are catching up. Uh, So, what's needed is a comprehensive shift in mindset and infrastructure. Martin and Chilton 2020 proposed real time data control as a trust building measure, while Florida 2016 called for independent governance through ethics boards. These are not theoretical ideals, they are practical, scalable solutions. A critical theme across our research is that AI's marketing cannot remain ethical blind. And Tedio and Florida 2018 emphasizes that algorithms fairness is not a afterthought but a design requirement. If the industry continues to ethic wash its image while exploiting loopholes, it will face not only legal action but consumer alienation and systemic failure. Our recommendation is clear: ethics must become core infrastructure for decorative languages. Thank you so much.